You're watching Man Coverage with Nate Schmidt and James Bonneville on National Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everyone. This is Man Coverage. We are talking college football. This is Knoxville Nate and James Bonneville. We are coming to you live on October 26, 2025, College Football Week number 9. It seems like the season just started. However, it is almost over, and I'm more confused now than I was at the beginning of the season, to be honest with you. I guess we have to start giving Texas A&M some props. I mean, I don't know. I was not a believer, but I mean, they just keep winning. And, this quarterback who I don't like keeps leading them to victories. So I guess I need to give him a little bit of credit. I mean, he still doesn't have like a glorious day. He's 12 of 21. That's not like amazing, but that's okay. He threw for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. The most important thing, though, James, is that they're 8-0. He also threw 2 picks, by the way. But he ran for 108 yards and 2 scores. So that, he kind of did most of the damage against the LSU defense with his legs, which is kind of weird because I would think they could use Perkins or somebody to spy him. James, what happened to this LSU defense yesterday at home, giving up 50 points?
I think it's more than LSU's defense. You got to throw LSU's offense in there. I would call it the second half. That was unbelievable. Like, that game is a tale of 2 halves. I mean, that was just unreal the way A&M in Death Valley stuck it to them. That's the part that blows me away is A&M went in there and just took it to LSU. I mean, you look at the second half, LSU's offense, which we have talked about on the show routinely.
It's terrible.
About how this offensive line is an absolute and utter freaking disaster. Like, I go back to the pre-Brian Kelly area, Ed Orgeron, Miles, Saban. Man, the offensive line in many cases was the standard bearer. I mean, their line of scrimmage play on both sides. Their offensive line is a disaster right now. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a Brian Kelly team, but since he's been there, this offensive line hasn't been – I mean, last year was pretty good, but they lost 4 or 5. Will Campbell goes in the first round, but I mean, what else they have? But listen to this. Final drives, punt, 3-place punt, 6-place punt. Hold on a second here. 3-place punt, 4-place punt, 4 plays downs, and then went 12 plays to end the game when they're down 49-18. In that time period, they gained 25 yards and 1 first down.
That's embarrassing. This quarterback's trash. I don't understand why people are talking about how great this Nussmeier guy was. I mean, he was okay last year. He wasn't amazing. I don't understand why he got the preseason hype. The biggest numbers that jumped out to me were obviously 7 sacks. LSU gave up. I mean, they could have given up more than that, honestly. But 7 sacks, 11 tackles for loss. I mean, they were leading. They were living in the LSU backfield.
Yeah.
When you finish a game with 7 sacks and 11 tackles for loss, I mean, you're basically playing nearly the entire game in the LSU backfield. I mean, that to me shows that the offensive line is inept. And then also, 27 carries for 60 yards. That's 2.2 per clip. That is not going to get it done. James, tell me how this LSU team under Brian Kelly is any better than the team under Ed Orgeron. Do you think this team looks better coached to you than the Ed Orgeron team?
Well, I mean, it's funny. We've seen Brian Kelly for years. I mean, Notre Dame, before that Cincinnati, before that Central Michigan, before that Grand Valley. I mean, like it was like clockwork. First year's a little rough. They end up doing something at the end. Second year they take off. Things get better and better. At LSU, it's been a disaster from the get-go. I mean, honestly, I give the defense of Texas A&M more credit, their front seven, more than their offense, because the worst field position they started from in the second half was their own 44.
That's pretty good.
I mean, honestly, when you only have to go a little ways to score, you're putting all the pressure on LSU's offense, put all the pressure on their defense, and they snapped.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen. I mean, the offensive line, it's kind of hard for Nussmeier to throw. I'm not as down on Nussmeier as you are, but it's kind of hard to throw the ball when you're laying on the freaking ground and getting piss pounded over and over and over again. I mean, I guarantee at the end of the year, he's got PTSD from linemen just living in his backfield.
True. He doesn't have much time to do anything. It's not all his fault, but it's not like he's willing them to victory either.
No.
That's the thing. I mean, I haven't seen anything from him that's like, oh, if he had more time, he could do this. Like, he's not impressive to me at all. Their team isn't impressive. This is what they gave up 49 points. And A&M only, completed 12 passes. Their leading receiver was Bethel Roman, who had one catch for 47 yards. That was the leading receiver for the A&M Aggies. I mean, they didn't even have to throw it, James.
Yeah.
That's not good. And I think LSU's in trouble. I mean, they've still got games to go that they can lose. I mean, that's my thing. They're 5-3, and they have to play Bama next week. I mean, that's not going to go well.
I mean, this LSU team, I mean, at the beginning of the year, would you have told me that they would potentially fire Brian Kelly at the end of the year? I would have said you're crazy.
Yeah, me too. But they're probably going to be 5-5. I mean, why would you keep him? I don't really see the reason. I mean, everybody else is firing their coach. If anybody should get fired, it should probably be him. They're not any good, and he's had time. He's got money. They've spent so much cash on this roster. They have NFL players on this roster.
Yeah.
He just can't seem to put it together, and that's on him. And I would not be surprised. We're going to talk about coaches who are going to be next to be fired later in the show, and I think he's probably going to be one of them. Two guys that are doing more with less would have to be Eli Drinkowitz in Missouri, and then also Clark Lee in Vanderbilt. Those two teams matched up yesterday in Nashville. ESPN Game Day was there. It's like, what the hell world are we living in where ESPN Game Day is in Nashville for a Vanderbilt game, and Vanderbilt's ranked in the top 10 and pretty much, dominate this game. I mean, to me, this game was lost simply because of that fourth down call. I just go back to that fourth down call. You have one of the best running backs in all of college football standing there waiting for the ball, and you don't hand it to him. You have your quarterback run it up the middle by himself on 4th and 2. He not only doesn't score, then he gets injured, and then the game is pretty much over at that point as you put in a freshman who hasn't played yet. What did you think about that fourth down call, James, or that whole sequence of play calling when, the Heisman boy throws an interception, Missouri takes it down to the 2-yard line and can't punch it in? Did you like the play calling on that?
It didn't make sense from a Drinkwitz standpoint. I mean, he's always plays to a strong part of his hand. And I mean, let's be honest, Hardy is probably one of the best, if not the best running back in the SEC. I'm kind of shocked in that. I mean, the part
Why does he not touch the ball?
I don't know. That just shocked me. Like literally shocked. I mean, because you look at it, how in the world did Missouri only put up 10 points when they had 78 plays ran to Vanderbilt's 45?
They couldn't get it in, and the play calling down at the goal line. And, that to me was coaching. I mean, the coaching lost this game. Clark Lee outcoached the Dorkowitz. And that was the difference in the game to me. Now, I'm going to go out here and, I'm not going to hand Mr. Pavia the Heisman Trophy, but what I am going to do is give Vanderbilt's defense a lot of credit. I mean, did they give up some yards? Yeah. Did they bend? Yes. But they still held Hardy under 100 yards. He only had 97 yards. Kevin Coleman was amazing. They handed it to him. They threw it to him. He played great. So like you said, Missouri did run the ball, but Vanderbilt wouldn't let him in the end zone. And that was the difference in the game to me. But really this game was lost, in my opinion, right there at the goal line. Not only did they not give it to him on 4th and 2, they didn't give it to him on 3rd and 2. Yeah. They didn't hand the ball to Hardy at all in that sequence. And that's what really bothers me. How do you not give it to your best player and just say, let's get 2 yards, guys? I mean, he'd been getting yardage all day. Why can't he get 2 more yards? That, to me, lost them the game.
Agreed. I mean, when Pribula went out, literally the air went out of the building. But I got to give the true freshman, Matt Zellers, a lot of credit. This is a kid who didn't even play his senior year because of injuries at Springford High School in Royersford, Pennsylvania. I mean, high 4-star prospect, didn't play his senior year, hasn't played yet, and has to come into a situation with a top 10 team on the road. I mean, was it perfect? No, but quite frankly, it could have been a lot worse. Yeah. And he threw the ball with command. But at the end of the day, Vanderbilt, they just got that rabbit's foot. There's just something about them. They're just gamers at the right time and being able to put it together. But you're right, the defense. The defense really should have been what was talked about rather than Diego Pavia. But let's be honest, Pavia's name is so high right now. I mean, quite frankly, he could say anything and it's going to get press.
True, but he was 10 of 19 for 120 yards and an interception, a QBR of 59.1. You can't give somebody who has a QBR of 59.1 the Heisman Trophy. I mean, he only averaged 2.5 yards per carry. He was ineffective through the air. He was ineffective through the ground. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Missouri's defense. I think they came to play.
Oh, their front seven's phenomenal. Absolutely.
Front seven is great. I love Zion Young. He's a good player. Nicholas Rodriguez played a really strong game. I like Josiah Trotter as well. This is a good Missouri defense, and I feel like their effort was wasted by some pretty ridiculous play calling. As I mentioned, not only do you not get a touchdown, but then you hurt your starting quarterback who's played amazing all year. That to me is just bogus coaching there, and Dorkowitz deserves the blame on this one, buddy. He deserves all of it because his team, definitely showed up and played well enough to win the game, in my opinion, based on what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny as next week they're playing at home against Texas A&M. That's a game where Missouri can win.
Yeah, but not without their quarterback, do you think?
They're going to have to go in the air. Coleman's going to have to be a heavy dose of the reason they won.
Yeah, but do you think the starter's going to play? I mean,
no. He got air. I don't know what the injury is, but he got air casted. When you get air casted, you're not coming back the next week.
Well, and when you get carted off and never return, I doubt he's going to play next week against A&M. And so I've got little faith that they can get it done. Stranger things have certainly happened, but I'm just telling you, I got little faith in them. Another team that I now have little faith in is the Oklahoma Sooners. They were playing so well Venables had found something. What were they? 5-0, 6-0, 5-0?
5-0. I think 5-0. Yeah.
5-0. They were rolling. He goes down with an injury, and they just have not, for whatever reason, they have not looked the same since. I do think we need to give Lane Kiffin some credit for, obviously having a tough loss against Georgia in a game that went back and forth. He goes out, travels to Boomer Soonerland, and, their offense plays really well again. This Trinidad Chambliss kid, this Ferris State product, played really well. And, John Mateer did not. He doesn't look the same since his injury, James. Do you think he's still suffering lingering problems from that? Or what is the reason that this offense has not returned to form for Oklahoma?
He looks gun shy, and he has not. I mean, part of what, especially go back to that Michigan game, it wasn't just his arm, but it was his legs too. And since then, he's never had a decent leg game. I mean, yesterday, 13 carries, 17 yards. I mean, he did have a long of 16, but he was getting beat up in the backfield quite a bit. I think he is more gun shy now than ever. I mean, but this defense has been really been the star of this team. I mean, you go back to that Auburn game. It wasn't the offense, it was the defense that basically propelled them to that win. And I think they just got tired out. I mean, hell, at the end of the half, they were down 22-12, and it felt worse than that.
Yeah.
If they didn't have a good third quarter, I mean, we could have been getting the buses warmed up halfway through the third.
Correct. I agree. And, you can say, well, maybe it's because they don't have a running game or all this, because that was one of our concerns. But yesterday, they ran the football okay. I mean, certainly Robinson had a great day. Now, he only carried the ball 9 times for 109 yards. Maybe that was one of the issues. Maybe they should have given this guy the ball a little bit more, kept Ole Miss's offense off the field, and, kept their offense on the field. I don't know, exactly what the game plan was, but I feel like if they had maybe ran the ball more often, than not ran Mateer as much, maybe they have a different outcome. James, where do you see these two teams going from here? Oklahoma now sits 6-2, going into the last half of the season. They have to play Tennessee next week in Knoxville. Then they play Alabama, then Missouri, then LSU. I could see this Oklahoma team losing every single one of those games. Maybe not Missouri and LSU, but I could see both those teams potentially beating them. What do you think their season looks like on the way out?
I think at best it's 2-2.
Yeah.
At best. I mean, it could go 0-4, but man, you want to talk about the tale of two halves. The first half of the season, you go 5-1, and people had you ranked as high as 4 or 5?
Definitely when they were 5-0, they were ranked 4.
Yeah. And now it's just crumbled.
Yeah.
And I mean, at Tennessee, is that a place where you're going to get your confidence back all of a sudden? I don't think so. And then you got to go to Alabama. I mean, it's just, I think the Boomer Schooner is going to be go capsize again when it comes out of the tunnel. It's just that bad right now for Oklahoma. And now the question is does Oklahoma faithful get upset and fire Venables?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in a minute, because I want to know what the situation is. Let's say they go 2-2. Let's say they go 0-4. Do they get rid of his ass? I think it's possible. Let's talk about that in just a minute. But first off, I want to talk about Ole Miss. They play South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida. Why the hell are they playing the Citadel this late in the season? That's a freaking joke.
Yeah.
But they play South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, and Mississippi State. I could see Ole Miss potentially winning out. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think you got to start penciling them into being in the college football playoff. Now,
and do you think they're a playoff team? Because I'm not certain that they're a team that can go far in the playoffs. Are you?
I think they're one and done.
Me too.
Their defense is going to have serious problems.
I agree.
They're going to be able to score points, but they're not going to stop anything.
No, they can't.
So
They can't.
I mean, it's funny is like you look at the schedule, 3 of the 4 games are at home. And the only road game, let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of Ole Miss fans in Stark Vegas. So I have a hard time seeing them. South Carolina maybe, but the rest of them, they're going to win.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've got little faith in our boy Beamer in South Carolina after yesterday. We'll talk about that in 30 seconds.
Football season is here, and SeatGeek is my go-to for buying tickets. Now with SeatGeek, every single ticket is backed with their buyer guarantee. We've all had plans change, and when you can't make it to the big game, SeatGeek has you covered. They're the only ticketer that allows you to return your tickets ahead of the event for credit with SeatGeek swaps. So when things come up, I know that my tickets won't go to waste. So what are you waiting for? Download the SeatGeek app to maximize your possibilities and shop live events with confidence.
All right, go to SeatGeek.com, type in promo code NSS, get your $20 off right now, get to the game. And I'm actually going next week to the Tennessee-Oklahoma game here in Knoxville. I'm going to go check out both of those teams, get a firsthand look as to what I think of them. I think Oklahoma's chances are probably cooked. But Tennessee has lost 2 games as well, correct? So this is kind of an elimination game as far as the college football playoff goes. You know, Tennessee is 6-2, Oklahoma is 6-2. Whoever loses that game, in my opinion, is done. So I'm going to go check that out, take a look from the 10th row, and see what happens. Team that is not cooked and is looking pretty solid at this point would be your Indiana Hoosiers. What the hell are we doing here talking about the Vanderbilt Commodores and the Indiana Hoosiers? I feel like I'm making a mistake, but I'm not. The Indiana Hoosiers are legitimate, and, you know, you say what you want to, UCLA has been a pretty good football team since they fired Deshaun Foster. But no magic yesterday for Nico and the boys. You know, Neuheisel was a big flash in the pan and obviously won 3 in a row. There was no love yesterday. There was no offense. 2 measly field goals was all they could amass while giving up countless yards. I mean, Mendoza didn't light it up yards-wise because he didn't have to. He was just throwing touchdowns all over the place. They ran the ball for 262 yards. That was the difference in the game. They just kind of out-physicaled UCLA 56-6, James. How is Indiana's offense able to dump points like this, as they have now done twice on 2 decent teams in Illinois and UCLA?
Well, I think everybody keeps going back to their offense. Their defense this year is playing way better than it did last year. They brought a lot back, and that really starts with Pons at corner and Aiden Fisher. I mean, I got to give Nico his credit for the 1 touchdown pass that he threw. He threw it to Indiana's defense, to Aiden Fisher, who brought it back 25 yards for a touchdown on the second play of the game. I mean, if you're getting short fields and you're able to move the ball, you could score a lot of points really quick. And you look at the Hoosiers, 35 points in the first half, and honestly, I think they could have scored more. But Hemby, Black on the rushing the ball.
Oh, sorry.
What can you say about that receiving core too as well? Instead of so heavily on Surratt, you saw EJ Williams step up, 5 receptions, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, this was a belt to ass game for Indiana. Indiana is just I can't believe I'm saying this. Indiana is providing belt to ass games. Like, this is like such a twilight zone. I mean, what in the world are we doing?
I don't know. And you've got, there's a lot of pressure on them now. Each game, they've given this coach all this money. They're ranked high. Everybody's pointing to them as being the best team. And so they've got the pressure and it's still going. And like you said, Elijah Surratt, who everybody anointed as the best receiver in the college football, he had, 2 catches, I think?
6 yards, 2 catches.
2 catches. Now, he did score a touchdown, but two catches all day, and they're still able to pour it on. And as you mentioned, the defense was what really won this game. I mean, yeah, they put up a bunch of points, but hell, Fisher had a pick 6. That was 7 of them. And really, the offense didn't have to do much because their defense played so well and got them in good field position. They flipped the field time and time again and really made life miserable for Nico Amaleva. Things are going back true to form for the UCLA Bruins at this point. They are no bueno, and we knew that going in. They had a little spark there by firing the coach, but that sometimes those things lose their luster over time, and that's what's happening there. Let's jump right over to the Bama game. Okay, let me take you back here for a moment to yesterday in the time machine, and South Carolina goes up by 8. Well, first off, let's go back. South Carolina scores. They're trying to tie the game, so they go for 2. This is like third quarter, relatively early in the third quarter. And I'm sitting there going, why are they going for 2 right now? You get free points against Alabama. You take them. You don't go for 2. They don't go for 2, and they get stopped. And, that's a big crucial play in the game, in my opinion. However, they still come back. They go up by 8 points and, throw a dart. And then they just kind of look to me like they started playing to not lose instead of to win. And that's how you lose. The defense was playing off. They weren't blitzing. They were just letting Simpson sit back there and pick them apart. Of course, Bama goes down and scores. They go for 2. They get it. And, and then South Carolina gets the ball back, goes 3 and out right away, and Bama gets the ball again. James, what happened at the end of the game here, and how did South Carolina fold in this one? Do you think it was more Bama, springing to life and taking it, or do you feel like South Carolina kind of shit themselves?
I believe they shit themselves, honestly. You look at South Carolina, they were hoping not to lose when they were up 22-14.
Yeah.
You're at home, the crowd's behind you, and that's a loud stadium. William Bryce Stadium is a loud stadium.
It is.
And they started playing off receivers. And the last thing you want to do is give Ty Simpson space. Like, he is a very accurate passer. Does he have a cannon? No. But he's a very accurate passer. And we keep saying this week after week after week. Jeremy Bernard. And honestly, I thought we'd be saying those words about Ryan Williams.
No.
But now, I'm sorry. Jeremy Bernard should be the number 1 receiving option in Tuscaloosa. Honest to God, he's like, the game just keeps getting better and better for him. And I see his stock rising, especially in the draft. They find ways to get him in the running game, the passing game. They disguise him incredibly well. And Simpson's game from the Florida State game on has gotten better and better. A little shaky in the first half, but he is playing a very good game of football right now. And really is one of the major reasons they're 7-1 right now.
Well, yeah. And, I want to give him a little more credit, even though I don't like him and don't like Bama, but I still want to give him credit because how many drops did Bama have?
Yeah.
I saw at least 3 in the second half that hit these guys in the hands and the chest. 2 of them were Williams. And I believe the other one was, I think it was Rico Scott who dropped the other one. So I saw Williams have 2 drops and I saw Scott have at least 1 in the second half. So you take those balls and you add the yardage and you add the completions to Ty Simpson, his day looks even better. So I guess what I'm saying here is they're not even helping him as much as they should because A, as we've discussed all year, the running game sucks. And B, half the time these guys are dropping balls that are hitting them in the chest.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I did not think that Bama would struggle against a 3-4 Gamecock team. South Carolina is now 1-5 in the SEC. We were lenore about, not us, people were talking about South Carolina as a playoff team, James.
I know.
How did this go wrong? Lenore Sellers doesn't suck, but this team does. How is that possible?
I mean, let's be honest. You go back to previous seasons, and there's been times where South Carolina has come out of the gates really slow. But under Beamer, those last 6 games, they turn it on. I mean, we're past those last 6 games, the start of the last 6 games, and they still look like they're playing first half of the season performances. I mean, this is a team that's hoping not to lose.
Yeah.
That is an awful recipe.
That's how you lose. Friend, is to play not to lose. It's like the prevent defense. It prevents you from winning. And that's what I saw last night. It looked like South Carolina got up by 8 and went into this prevent defense. It's like you're 3-4. You've got nothing to lose. Go out there and give it all you have. Blitz the hell out of them. Try and get a sack. Try and make him throw an errant pass and intercept it. Try and win the game. And they didn't do that. I've got to be honest.
Someone's got to step up. And who's stepping up for this team? No one. And it's coaching, it's players, it's all across the board. And it really kind of pissed me off because they had the ability to win this game. Okay, I want to admit something right now, and that is when Mississippi State went up, what was it, 38 to 21? Yeah.
38 to 21. Was it in the fourth quarter? I think it was in the fourth quarter. It was 38 to 21. It was the start of the fourth quarter, but I was just like, oh my gosh, they are going to lose again. And I was like, people are going to be all over this team. Oh my gosh. I just could not believe it. I was like, what is going on in Texas? I was concerned about Arch and Sark and the boys. And my goodness, did they mount a comeback, James. 24 points they put up in the fourth quarter, not to mention 7 in overtime. That's 31 basically in the final stanza. Heroic effort by Texas. Their defense, played better in the fourth quarter and in overtime than they did the rest of the game. But really, you got to hand it to this Texas offense for finally getting it going. Arch, who everybody says sucks, threw for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. He doesn't suck. This team is struggled, but Ryan Wingo had a heck of a day, averaging 36.8 yards a catch. Pretty amazing. What did you think about the comeback for the Longhorns in the final stanza?
It shows they have fight. This is a team that the way their season has gone, they could have easily just laid down and died.
Yes.
And I give them credit. Now, once again, you may have heard me say this before with LSU. This offensive line has played like dog shit all year. The problem is today their defense has been their bellwether, and their defense got, 38 on a Texas defense. Hell, Ohio State only put up 17. It's shocking that they were able to give up that much.
14.
Arch is a gamer. Is he as good as everybody thinks he is? I think he's still young. He's only 20, 21. Just give him some freaking time to find out who he is. And are they going to win the national championship? No. Paul Feinbaum put him on a stratosphere before the beginning of the year that he had no chance of reaching unless they win every game by 50 points.
Yeah.
And it's getting a little ridiculous. Let him be Arch. You let Eli be Eli. You let Peyton be Peyton. Let him be Arch. Let him go through his growing pains and see who he is as a quarterback. But this comeback, honestly, on the road, in a hostile environment with those damn bells, impressive. Really impressive.
Very impressive. And he's thrown for 1,800 yards with 15 touchdowns as opposed to 6 interceptions. It's not as bad as people are making it out to be. I hope that he's okay because as we both talked about before the show, he got concussed and had a concussion at the end of this game. Big props to their backup quarterback who came in overtime, Matthew Caldwell, and threw a touchdown pass basically to win the game. So, this is problematic, however, for the Longhorns as they have to play Vanderbilt next week at home at noon on ABC. That could be an issue.
A name that people probably don't know much about is the returner for Texas, Ryan Niblett. This kid is impressive.
Very.
Like, how often do we bring up returners?
That punt return was unbelievable, man, and that really sparked a lot of things as far as the comeback goes. And and I'm glad you brought him up. But another dude that we would be remiss if we didn't mention was Anthony Hill Jr.
Oh yes,
Holy mackerel, was he all over that field? I mean, you can get on the Texas defense a little bit for giving up 38 points, but Anthony Hill Jr. had 10 tackles, 6 solo, 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. He was living in the backfield for them.
Hell, last week against Kentucky, both of those guys are big reasons Texas won those games.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Hill's numbers are skyrocketing going in the draft. Niblett, this is a kid that reminds me a lot of Devin Hester. And he just is a problem on punt and kick return. You've got to figure out a way to keep the ball away from him, or punt it out of bounds, kick it away from him any way possible.
Yeah, that 79-yard punt return was huge for
Unbelievable.
them because they were struggling on offense at that point. Another guy who doesn't really get mentioned that much, but I think he should, is Hero Kanu. The transfer from Ohio State was kind of confused when he left. Now I get it, man. He went over to Texas. He starts for them, and he had some big plays, especially in the fourth quarter where he was showing up in the backfield. And, congratulations to him. Obviously, I was a little pissed when he left because that hurt our D-line depth for the Buckeyes, but he really has shown out since he got to Texas and played really well yesterday against Mississippi State. So a couple more games here that we need to get to. Want to talk about Washington. Obviously there was elements going on yesterday in Seattle. They had wind gusts. They had rain. I mean, it looked like a day in Seattle pretty much. And, Washington finally had that game that we've kind of been looking for them that really showed us, what they can do. And they were playing number 23 Illinois at home. And pretty much, in the second half, shut down the Illinois offense. 8 points total in the second half for Illinois. The quarterback, Williams, really played a good game. I was impressed with their wide receiver, Boston. He had 10 catches for 153 yards. Just a really good offensive performance by the Huskies. What did you think about Illinois falling flat in the second half against the Huskies?
They've been a really weird team all year. Because, you look at the previous years, they've really built themselves in their line of scrimmage, especially on their defensive line. That front three has been a mainstay since Bielema came back to college football and really rebuilt that image that he had at Wisconsin. This defense isn't what it once was. There's like the mystique is kind of wore off a little bit. I mean, heck, Luke Altmaier is throwing 3 interceptions total this year. He threw 2 yesterday. I mean, don't get me wrong. Husky Stadium, one of the toughest places to play. I mean, heck, if you're sitting in that upper deck and it gets loud, it will shake up there big time. But, Damon Williams had a hell of a game in bad elements. Only 7 incompletions, 280 yards, plus him and Jonah Hill running the ball. It was bound to happen. Heck, you look at Washington, Ohio State, when Ohio State went out there. That was a game. Washington is a tough out when they're home.
That was a very close game. It ended up Ohio State winning 24-6, but it was a lot closer than that.
Yeah.
And Ohio State put some points up late, but yesterday that was the game I was looking for from the Huskies to show that they're for real. And I think that was the one that Damon Williams was looking for to get it going. And their schedule is favorable on the way out. They play Wisconsin, they play Purdue, they play UCLA. I see 3 victories there. And then they play Oregon the last week of the season. Can this Washington team beat Oregon in Autzen Stadium, James? Because I don't think I see that happening, but I could see them winning the next 3.
Oregon doesn't – they as of late, you look at last night and the game before against Indiana, they look a lot more human. They're just not playing like their fast-paced ability. It's possible. I don't buy it. I think Oregon is going to win. I think they got to find a way to turn it on if they're going to go deep into the playoffs. But they just don't look like their same team. I mean, heck, they gave up a touchdown to Wisconsin, who went 14 quarters where Wisconsin hadn't scored a touchdown. I mean, it just they were trying to run a vanilla offense, and guess what? Wisconsin see hole, linebacker fills hole. Like it was nothing original. They felt like it was a very boilerplate game for Oregon. So
I agree. 21-7, not really impressive. But if you look at this is a big matchup, this Oregon-Washington matchup. I think that'll be a huge game if both these teams can continue on winning. But if you look at these teams side by sides, Williams has more passing yards than Moore. Jonah Coleman has more yards than Whittington. Boston has more yards than Moore. The only matchup where, you could see the Oregon Ducks having a slight edge is on defense as far as, sacks and those types of numbers. But I could really see that being a big game to close out the season. One more game to discuss before we leave. Memphis comes back after a tough loss and knocks off a very good South Florida team. What does this show you about what Memphis has continuing on? Obviously a tough loss that they had the week before, but to be able to come back and beat a proven South Florida team as they did, I think was pretty impressive, James.
I mean, honest to God, let's be honest, this game between South Florida and Memphis is a knockout game because whoever lost had no chance of making the playoffs. They're going to have to give a group of 5 a team a bid. Memphis right now saved themselves 17 points in the fourth quarter. They really need it because honestly, I thought at some points during the game, South Florida was just going to take it and run away with the game. They just seemed like they had momentum on their back. This is a game Memphis needed, and let's be honest, their coach is being talked about for other jobs. I will be very shocked if he stays in Memphis next year as their head coach.
I agree. I think he may be moving on. A couple teams that, looked good in the Big 12. BYU, 8-0 now, beat the tar out of Iowa State yesterday in Ames, in Iowa State's home stadium. That was a huge victory for Brockmeyer and the boys. And, Texas Tech came back in a big way, but they were playing Oklahoma State, so I don't really give much credit for that. And I will give Cincinnati some credit for, holding Sawyer Robinson to 137 yards passing. That's got to be a season low, James.
Honestly, God, Cincinnati this year, if you would have told me, we were talking about their coach being fired at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Starting at the beginning. And now they have a chance of winning the Big 12. I'm blown away. Honest to God, blown away. The 2 5-0 teams, BYU, I could have seen it. Cincinnati, I didn't see it at all.
I didn't either. And Evan Pryor, the former Ohio State Buckeye, running the football. I swear to God, he's played football for like 20 years.
Yes.
But he's still carrying the rock for the Cincinnati Bearcats and had a pretty good game yesterday after 2 years with Ohio State. And then this quarterback, Swordsby, huge game from him, man. 2 touchdown passes that were big, touchdown running, averaged 8 yards a carry. He's a tough little football player, and I think we need to start paying attention to Cincinnati. And I think we can take their coach off the fired list based on what he's done in Nippert Stadium. But there's some guys that are leaning towards the door. I understand that they just got done paying Les Miles, that they're still paying Ed Orgeron, but I don't know how you can sit there and tell me that you're headed towards winning the national championship with Brian Kelly. I think he is getting close to being fired. It's not looking good. They are probably going to get beat next week as well. And then you're talking about a team that was supposed to be in the hunt for a national championship, James, and they're nowhere near it. I think we have to start at least considering the fact that Brian Kelly may be the next one out.
Yeah. I if you would have told me that, honestly, the Franklin firing kind of started allowing people because I don't think nobody wanted to be the first after A&M.
Yeah.
It'd be the next one after A&M when you have that 50 number, just because it's so in your face. Now that it's out there, I could see potentially others doing it. Brian Kelly, I could see Shane Beamer, I can see Mark Stoops, which I cannot believe those words are coming out of my mouth. I can see, I'm hearing words about Jonathan Smith at Michigan State, which everybody thought that was a home run hire. Luke Fickell, I mean, he got the dreaded letter of confidence from the athletic director.
That usually means you're next.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I'm hearing. I mean, Bill Belichick, I think he's just going to leave the program. Who takes that job next is beyond me. Hugh Freeze in Auburn. I mean, let's be honest. Auburn's always been, I mean, how many times was Gus Malzahn literally so close to the chopping block and he saves his job?
Yeah.
For a guy that took them to a national freaking championship game. How many conference titles? Beating Alabama, and nothing was ever good enough.
No, they wanted to get rid of him. And, I think Freeze bought himself another week by beating Arkansas. But let's be honest, a team that was 0 and whatever in the SEC, and it took 17 fourth quarter points for you to come back and win. That's not good. And I think Hugh Freeze is probably on his way out too. Obviously, we'll have to see what the rest of the season looks like. But I think he's got a real high potential to be fired. They just like to fire coaches down there, down in the Plains. They don't have a problem doing it, and they'll pay you to leave. I'd love to be a coach at Auburn and get paid to leave. That would be no worries for me. What do you think about Deion and the potential of him hanging it up after this year? I mean, they took a ass kicking yesterday. That was he mentioned that it was the worst loss he ever had in his life, coaching, playing, otherwise. Utah has got their backup freshman quarterback in there, and they just rolled them all over the place. I mean, it was embarrassing, 53-7. And that 7 was scored in the fourth quarter in, mop up time. With the health problems, I don't think they'll fire him. Probably should, but I don't see them doing that. But I do see him potentially walking away after this season. Would you be shocked by that?
Not at all. Not in the least. I mean, the problem is if everybody fires these guys, you got your whole job is to hope we have something more better to bring in. I mean, quite frankly, I don't know where people are going to find that better. Like it's getting crazy where they're firing before they really have candidates out there that could really take the job, because this could be a complete and utter mess at some point.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're going to see some other people hitting the road. Before we get out of here, James, who do you have left in your Heisman race at this point? And don't say Diego Pavia, or I'm cutting you off.
My top 3, Haynes King. I mean, every single week, nobody's talking about him. He throws the ball, he runs the ball, and Georgia Tech is undefeated. If one of those coaches, who I think who's going to be at another spot next year, Brett Key, I mean, he and Haynes King have been hand in hand. I'm going number 2, Francisco Mendoza. He has really played well. His draft stock has gotten better. And my number 3 is really a tie between 2 people. I go Ty Simpson and Julian Sand. I think both those 2 guys, they kind of are very similar in ability and stature too as well. But that's my top 3. How about you?
I like those. No, I think Haynes King, especially yesterday, that was kind of a Heisman game, dude.
Yeah.
25 of 31, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns against a Syracuse team that, has shown the ability to win games they shouldn't win. I think that was very impressive. And if you don't mention him, you're not doing your homework. However, no one's really running away with it. Is my whole point. I mean, the last couple of years, you've just been like, oh, this guy's going to win, or this guy's going to win, or these 2 guys, or whatever. Mendoza had a good game, but, it wasn't like he blew you out of the water with his numbers. He only threw for 168 yards. I do think you got to talk about him in the race, but I just don't see those numbers that just lead me to want to hand it to him. But I like your guys. I like your list. I think I'm on board with those folks as of right now. But things can change. I want to see who can put it together, string together some huge games down the stretch, and win it. I want to see somebody just have that game where you're like, okay, let's give them the trophy.
This year feels a lot like the year that Kyler Murray won it and Robert Griffin III won it, where really it was November that was the belt, like the statement. And honestly, if King's going to win it, I go back to that Georgia Tech game, last game of the year.
Yeah.
If he pulls that off, it's going to be hard not to give it to him.
It's going to be hard not to hire that damn coach too. If he, I don't know why he's not being talked about in a lot of these jobs right now. The one guy you didn't mention though in your list of firees was Mike Norvell. You think he survives this year?
It comes down to that payout. I mean, it is just, I can't believe we're having these. I mean, I remember like within the last 5-6 years, we thought it was funny when you had a 10, 15 or $20 million buyout, that these schools were insane. Now that's like walking money, and 30, 50, 80 million is the buyouts, and people aren't balking.
Well, how can you sit there with a straight face and say that you're doing what's best for Florida State football when they're 0-4 in the conference?
Yeah.
They're 3-4 overall. They've lost 4 in a row, and it kind of looks to me like he's lost this team.
They're not developing anything. They're
No.
just getting transfers, and they're putting Band-Aids on bullet wounds. At some point, it's going to bite you in the butt.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
looking like
it just
it is now.
Who the hell do you get? I mean, there's only so. I mean, Jay Norvell got fired this week. Mike Napier got fired right after our show. I mean, this could. I mean, I fully expect James Franklin is going to be coaching next year. I thought he was going to take a year off. I think he's not only going to be coaching. He's going to be coaching at a Power 5 school.
I agree. I think Franklin's going to get a job. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see several people get a job that you might not have thought of. I think Pat Fitzgerald is going to get a job and will be coaching next year. I understand those last 2 years at Northwestern didn't look great. I think he went 3-9 and then 1-11. He's going to have to explain those last 2 seasons, but it's Northwestern, bro. I mean, he did that a lot, where he'd have a year or 2 that weren't great, and then he'd win the West and go to the Big Ten championship or something like that. I think he's proven that he can win with not much. So think if you gave Pat Fitzgerald resources, think if you gave him a team that can have the ability to win games just by their ability instead of just his coaching, I think he could be a successful coach somewhere prominent, and I think he gets a look and should be interviewed. But I got to tell you right now, if I am Penn State, I don't even think about it. I go to Atlanta and I ask this guy, Coach, what do I have to do to get you to leave Georgia Tech and come coach Penn State? How could you not want this guy? 8-0 at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech used to be a joke in the ACC.
Yeah.
And now they're the best team by far. So I don't know why you wouldn't hire this guy. I have no clue, James.
It's funny as his name's not even being mentioned for those jobs.
No,
Like that. I mean, I'm hearing Arkansas, but if I'm him, I'd stay at Georgia Tech.
I wouldn't leave Georgia Tech for Arkansas.
I mean, now, what job do you think is better, Florida or Penn State?
That's a very difficult question. Which one's paying me more money? That's my answer.
See, I go with Penn State because their alumni aren't freaking insane.
Yeah. Well, some of them are, but they just paid $50 million to get James Franklin to go away. So that's a little bit of insanity. But I do think it's, it might be a little bit of an easier road to hoe in Penn State, I think. If I'm a head coach, though, I don't know if those are the 2 jobs that I would want, just because of their recent lack of success and Florida's just constant turnover there.
Yeah.
They're flipping coaches like pancakes down in Gainesville, and that's not a good look, and that would worry me if I'm looking for a stable position. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Agreed.
So we'll see what happens. But week 10 is coming up next week. Obviously, some big games. That Texas Vandy game without probably Arch Manning is going to be a huge one. And I'll be at the Tennessee-Oklahoma game, checking that one out and seeing what happens. We'll talk to everybody again real soon. Keep your chins up. Go to Man Coverage 2075 at YouTube. Get all the information you need from us. And James, have a good day, bud.
Hey, you too. One thing before we go, happy birthday to Sarah Jordan. Just wanted to throw that out there wherever you're at. So,
all right. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Talk to you guys later.
Have a good one, buddy.